Welcome to the Genius Talk podcast. I'm your host Atul Raj from the bestemailmarketer.com, and today we have Ken Schmidt with us. Ken, thank you so much for joining.
Glad to be here, Atul.
Okay, so for our listeners who don't know you, can you tell them who you are and what do you do?
Sure. I'm a lot of things. I'm a speaker. I'm an author. I am also the former head of communications at Harley Davidson motorcycle company out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and was part of the turnaround team there in the 1980s and 90s. Highly successful turnaround, which enabled me to go out and have a speaking career and write books and be on podcasts with guys like you.
Okay, so what led you to join Harley Davidson?
A couple of things. Atul, it's a great question. First of all, I love motorcycles.
Me too.
Second of all, at that time in Harley's history, the business was about to declare bankruptcy and quite potentially get out of business after more than 8 decades. So I thought the opportunity to, first of all, work at a motorcycle company would be a dream come true. But second of all, work at one where I had a chance to be part of something amazing, of rebuilding the business essentially from the ground up and making it successful again. And the way I looked at it was, if we try and fail, I will have a front row seat to how a major corporation dies. And that's kind of learning that you just don't get anywhere else. I thought, okay, and be able to apply that learning for the rest of my career. So luckily for me, everything turned out great, and Harley Davidson took off, and I've had a great career.
Okay, Harley Davidson shift from a product first to a people first mentality, which is really good. And so what sparked this transition?
What happened, what Harley Davidson experienced is what millions of businesses experience and don't learn from. And what we learned was that being a product company was destroying our competitiveness. And what I mean by that is, when a business that makes something, or even a business that sells something, if that's all that business is known for, that's a company that makes motorcycles. This is a company that makes guitars. This is a company that makes microphones. Well, that's great if you don't have any competition that also happen to make, motorcycles or guitars or microphones. And what we found was, if a business is only known for what it does, it simply isn't competitive. It's a commodity. It's replaceable. But when customers or potential customers see human qualities and can associate human qualities with the business, we feel that we know that business. We like that business better than the ones that simply make things. So the human connection becomes a way stronger attraction, if you will, than the products being sold. So leading with people first, focusing on delighting customers individually and in mass, does way more to attract buyers and potential buyers and build loyalty than simply selling stuff, which is what most businesses do.
Yeah. Can you give an example, like how did Harley Davidson implemented that?
Sure. Well, there was a lot of steps involved. First of all, let me just restate, the old way of doing business was design the product, build the product, ship the product, sell the product, promote the product, right, and all the features and the benefits of the product and the pricing, and then provide service. That's what every business does. The change to leading with people was a company-wide effort to put a human face on the business, meaning that we were going to become the most visible and present motorcycle company in the world. We're going to, instead of working out of big buildings and factories, we're going to go where customers are. We're going to create opportunities for motorcycle enthusiasts, motorcycle fans, motorcycle riders to come together, enjoy each other's company, learn from each other, and that's extremely important, and establish personal relationships with riders and potential riders. And nobody else in the industry was doing that. And it required a very hands-on effort at our dealerships around the world to educate and inspire them to stop focusing on selling motorcycles and instead focus on delighting people by not trying to just talk about products, talk about how they enjoy, how they envision seeing themselves on riding bikes. What would a dream motorcycle adventure for you look like? How can we make that happen for you? These are the kinds of questions that nobody else in the industry asked, that riders truly appreciated, and they gave us tremendous input on how to improve our products and services and how we run our business. If you ask people a question, they will answer it.
You know what I've seen, like a lot of motorcycle company just copied that strategy.
Well, they're trying to, but what surprises me more is that a lot of companies are still in the motorcycle industry just trying to win customers with the virtues of their product. And what I mean by that and why that is so detrimental to a business is if you as the producer of a product are constantly promoting and only promoting your product and the virtues of the product and what it does and how it does what it does and what each part does. What you're essentially doing is encouraging people to compare. You don't want people to compare your product and your company to someone else's, because if they have a similar product and it sells for a lower price, you lost. You actually pushed that customer to your competitor. There was no human engagement there. There's no human quality there. There's no human face. There's no emotion. There's no feeling. There's none of the things that make us human that attracts people. That's the wonderful thing about humans, is we're attracted way more to people than we are to products or invisible businesses that we know nothing about. And so many businesses, Atul, are so slow to catch on to this reality. They just think, if we can make our products faster and maybe sell them at a lower price than our competitors, we'll win. That does nothing to instill loyalty at all.
Yeah, exactly. What questions should a business ask to discover a unique brand voice that people actually remember and talk about?
Sure. Well, the actual thing, that's such a good question, because it reminds me of something that when we were starting this turnaround process at Harley Davidson, I crafted 3 questions. The 3 questions are: what are people saying about us? What do we want them to say about us? And third, what are we doing to make them say it about us? Meaning, what do we want the reputation of this business to be? What do we want people to know and associate with our business that can't be associated with any of our competitors? How do we wish to be known? And what we found is that if we tried to be known as a company that has great quality and great engineering and great manufacturing and great service, that just put us on a level par with our competitors, because everybody does that. But when I asked any business Atul, business leaders, and I'm talking people that run companies that we all buy from every day, what do you want to be known for? And they'll say, well, our great products, our great people, great service, fair pricing. We listen. I said, that's the same thing your competitors say. And if you're saying the same thing as a competitor, you're not competing. No humanity there. There's no difference there. You will lose if someone is selling the same stuff you are for less money. And the reason you're losing is you're pushing people away. So that's kind of question number 1 to people is what do you want people to say about you? And you need to be able to craft very short, simple answer to that question. How do we want people to describe us? Because what we're talking about is primarily your reputation, but also your most important competitive advantage in terms of what people remember about you. And if we remember a business and we remember it with those human qualities, I like these people. I like this business. I like doing business with them. When you hear words like them, they, what that means is they're speaking the language of human beings. I like them. Not I like it. I like that product. I like them. I like those
Yeah.
people. I like what they're doing. And what we discovered about loyalty, because Harley Davidson has probably the highest level of customer loyalty in the world for a transportation product, for a leisure product.
Okay, what's the percentage?
About 94% of people who own a bike say that they will buy another one.
That's
That's
really good.
crazy number. And what we thought and what we believed was that loyalty was to the product. And when a person tattooed Harley's logo onto their body, they're expressing their loyalty to their motorcycle. And what we found is that was the kind of thinking that killed our business, that it's all about product. And what we found is they're not expressing their loyalty to the product. They're expressing their loyalty to the people behind the product, the people who designed it, built it, made it, love it as much as they do, because we're humans and we humanize everything. We can't think in abstracts. I can't be in love with a thing. I can't be loyal to a thing, no matter how good that thing is. I can only be loyal to who brought it here? How did it get here? I feel like I know those people. That means so much from a competitive standpoint.
Okay, so what are some of the biggest misconceptions about building lasting brand loyalty in today's world?
Well, I think the biggest problem, and we just kind of touched on it, is businesses believe that they can build loyalty through their product. If we make a good product and make it faster and we ship it faster and we ship it overnight, people will come back and buy more. The problem is when that person needs to buy more of what they just bought, they can't even remember who they bought it from. We all do that. If
Yeah,
you can go online and buy things, and we all do, we don't remember where the stuff is coming from because we don't care. There's no
yeah.
humanity attached to that. So we have to get over that standpoint of saying, look, we want the world to buy from us and be loyal to us based for what we do rather than who we are. And that will kill your competitiveness every time.
Okay, so you have a book, Make Some Noise. Can you
Yeah,
talk about that?
sure. The book's called Make Some Noise, The Unconventional Road to Dominance. What I did with the book is I wanted to build a roadmap for people that they could follow that shows, here's how you position a business to not just be competitive, but to be dominantly competitive. Here's how we meet and exceed human wants. Here's how we can put a human face on a business. Here's how we can build the reputation of our business and get the people that we serve and delight and hope to serve and delight to tell others about us, to recommend us over everyone else. So I built it's essentially a book with business plan of how to build your business to be a more dominant competitor. And it's also filled with a lot of metaphors and stories of motorcycle experiences that tie back into the business. Lessons learned out talking with riders, with motorcycle dealers, with competitive companies. And people like it. Well, that's all. That the whole purpose of writing the book was to help people learn how to make a business more competitive by stressing humanity first instead of product, by focusing on being a source of delight for human beings rather than being a source of product or service for human beings, how to instill or create a culture of delight within a business. Because if we as a business are focused on delighting others within our business, it's way easier to delight our customers because it becomes ingrained in our DNA. I'm not here to answer questions. I'm not here to provide service. I'm not here to sell you something. I'm here to be a source of delight to you while doing all of that. Because if I'm not delighting you, you're not remembering anything. Memory and being able to remember things and attach those human qualities are ultimately what makes a business competitive or not competitive. What is a customer experience? All the customer experience is what the customer remembers. And if we're not giving them something to remember, they'll move on to the next. They'll buy
Exactly.
from someone else next time. And we can't afford to let that happen.
Okay, so while writing that book, what is the wow moment?
I think the wow moment for most is this repositioning a business to become dominant, to become a truly dominant competitor doesn't require huge amounts of capital. In fact, it's not a capital intensive effort whatsoever. It actually creates capital. Okay. So this isn't about spending tons of money to advertise and to promote and to discount and develop apps. This is about, first and foremost, deciding how we want the world to see us, who we are, crafting a very memorable and distinct vernacular that we use to describe ourselves and our business so that our customers will then use that same language when they discuss us. And then instilling that in the organization so that every employee knows that he or she have a role in being a source of delight for people, but also using the business vernacular, the business description, talking about our business the way we want people to remember it, because that's their ultimate experience, getting that within the organization. And because people model the people around them, and anybody who works for a living models the behavior of the people above them, the people who've been in the business longer, perhaps their boss, their manager. We know that if people are modeling our behavior, that the people running the business, people in positions of leadership or authority, have to constantly model behavior that they want people below them to exhibit, because that's the behavior that ultimately customers see and experience and remember.
Hmm. Okay, so for our listeners who want to connect with you, want to read your book, where can they go?
The easiest thing to do is to go to see me on LinkedIn. Very easy to find on there. If you just put Ken Schmidt, Schmidt, and then put Harley or Harley Davidson after that, I will come up immediately. Or they could go to my website, kenspeaks.com, Ken, SPEAKS.com. And there's information in there about books. There's videos of me speaking, talking about how a lot of this stuff was done at Harley Davidson and at other companies that I've worked with. A lot of information there, or they can just reach me through email, ken@kenspeaks.com. There's no question that anybody could ask me that I don't answer.
Okay, Ken. So looking back when you started, what's one lesson that you will tell yourself that you learned very late?
That I learned late?
Yep.
The lesson that I wish I'd learned early that I learned late is to there was a rule in the U.S. government about 25 years ago that they called trust but verify, which means, yes, if somebody's telling you something, you have to trust, but you also need to check to make sure that the information is accurate. And I've always been a very trusting person. And I think most people inherently are, so that when somebody's giving you some information about something, you tend to believe it. And a lot of times I didn't believe things accurately, or I got the numbers wrong. I got the data wrong. I got the information wrong, which created problems. So the trust but verify. Yes, I believe what you're saying, but we need to confirm that what you're telling me is accurate. That's one I wish I'd learned early. Would have saved me a lot of trouble.
Okay, Ken, thank you so much for spending some time with us. And it was really great having you here.
I had fun, Atul. Thank you so much for having me.